Radhe Radhe. I welcome you all for this Sadhana Shivar and this Father's Day celebration here this morning. We are very fortunate to have Siddheshvari Didiji here giving us a pravachan today. And let me give a very brief intro of her. Siddheshvari Didiji, who we lovingly call Didi Ji, is a very senior sannyasi preacher of our worldwide organization, Jagadguru Kripalu Parishat. She was born in India and raised mostly in Canada and graduated from York University in Toronto as an honors degree in languages and linguistics. She learned the philosophy of Raga Nuga Bhakti under the direct guidance of our Supreme Acharya Jagadguru Sri Kripalu Maharaj and became a sannyasi preacher in the year 1985. Didi Ji travels throughout the world serving the spiritual needs of seeking souls by revealing the practical aspects of bhakti through meditation enhanced by bhajan and kirtans. I request all of you to please listen to her discourse very attentively and kindly switch off your cell phone or put them in vibration mode. Now, as a token of our respect for Didi Ji, I request Deepa Talwar to offer her a garland.
न गुरो रधिकं तत्त्वं न गुरो रधिकं तपः तत्त्वज्ञानात् परं नास्ति कृपालु गुरवे नमः। त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव। नमः कमलना भाय नमः कमलमालिने नमः कमल नमस्ते कमलेक्षण यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तग्वंह देवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। Dear devotees of Bhagwan and Gurudev, please join me as we sing some of the divine words composed by the divine mind of Jagadguru Sri Kripalu Maharaj, our Gurudev. The words will be projected on the screen. राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 सब जीव भाई भाई गोविंद राधे सबका पिता है एक कृष्ण बता दे सब जीव भाई भाई गोविंद राधे सबका पिता एक कृष्ण बता दे सब जीव भाई भाई सब जीव भाई भाई गोविंद राधे सबका पिता है एक कृष्ण बता दे सब जीव भाई भाई गोविंद राधे सबका पिता है एक कृष्ण बता दे सबका पिता है एक कृष्ण बता दे सबका पिता है एक कृष्ण बता दे राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 माता या पिता या भ्राता माता या पिता या भ्राता गोविंद राधे सब नाता हरि गुरु से ही बता दे माता या पिता या भ्राता गोविंद राधे सब नाता हरि गुरु से ही बता दे सब नाता हरि गुरु से ही बता दे सब नाता हरि गुरु से ही बता दे राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 जगत पिता है हरि जगत पिता है हरि गोविंद राधे हरि से बड़ा पिता है, गुरु ही बता दे।
जगत पिता है हरि गोविंद राधे, हरि से बड़ा पिता है, गुरु ही बता दे।
हरि से बड़ा पिता है, गुरु ही बता दे।
हरि से बड़ा पिता है, गुरु ही बता दे।
राधे राधे गोविंद, राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे, राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे।
राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे, राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे।
राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे, राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे।
राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे, राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे।
राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे, राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे।
राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे, राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे।
राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे, राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे।
राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे, राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे।
राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे, राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे।
राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे, राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे।
राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे, राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे।
राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे, राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे।
राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे, राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे।
राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे, राधे राधे गोविंद, गोविंद राधे।
बोलिए श्री राधा कृष्ण भगवान की जय। परम पिता भगवान श्री कृष्ण की जय। श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की जय। Devotional listeners, now I humbly request your full attention as I talk about our three fathers. We all have three fathers. You might protest and say that even Sri Krishna has just two fathers. How is it that I have three fathers? One father is the biological father, the father of the body, the one whose name is written on your birth certificate. Then we have our true father, Sri Krishna. Because our essence is not the physical body, it is the divine spark of God called the soul, the spirit, the Atma. That is who we are. We are a soul that has a body, not the body that has a soul. So we are essentially the soul. The soul is related to only one, and that is the Supreme Soul, the soul of all souls, Sri Krishna. So he is our father. Biological father is the father of the body. There is a big distinction. And then we have our divine father who puts us in touch with our real father, that is the Guru. In this way we have three fathers. Let's talk about the biological father first. Many on the spiritual path wonder what their relationship with their father should be, their biological father. So scriptures and saints, and most especially our Gurudev, Jagadguru Kripalu Maharaj, tells us that we must have feelings of respect for our father. That is a given. The father and mother who gave us birth must have our respect. We must respect them. We must do our duty towards our father. We must have feelings of gratitude also for the father, biological father. So we must have respect, we must feel gratitude, and we must do our duty. But that duty must be without attachment. We quite often become very confused. Where we should do our duty, we put out our love and attachment there. Where we should give all our love and attachment, we tend to do our physical duty there. Love of the heart should be reserved for God and Guru. But the duty must be done. And duty and attachment are two separate things. We often lump them together. Duty without attachment towards the biological father. So oftentimes what we do is, most often, we tend to do our duty towards God. For instance, we put a plate of food before God and we say, "Aao, aao, bhog lagao rasiya." We sing beautifully, we sing for a while, and then we say, "I'm done with my devotion for the day." We wave the Aarti Thali in a clockwise fashion in front of God, and we say, "I've done Aarti, I've done Bhog, I'm done for the day. I've done my duty. Mera to ho gaya." Like I did my dishes, I washed my clothes, I did the Aarti and Bhog, all my chores are done. This is what we have learned from childhood. You do your duty towards God. Beta, Aarti ka diya jalaya. Did you light the diya? No, you didn't? No, bad boy. Go and light the diya before God. You must always do that. So we've learned that that's a chore we must do. And where we should just do our duty, we put all our attachment there. Now, attachment, when we become attached, we cannot do our duty properly. For instance, this is the true story of a mother and her child. When the child was 15 years old, he committed a heinous act towards another teenager, basically ruined her life, and he was given 15 years in jail for his crime. His mother's reaction? Complete attachment, no sense of duty. She said, "But it was the girl's fault." She blamed the victim. So that made her son more bold because he had his mother's support. She was not doing her duty. She was just giving her attachment. Fast forward a few years, that son of hers, he murdered 4 people. Again, this was discovered many years later, and what did the mother say? "But he's not a monster that you're making him out to be. He didn't kill those people because of enjoyment. He didn't get any enjoyment out of it." As if anyone murders anyone else for enjoyment, or should kill another for enjoyment. He didn't kill them for enjoyment, he killed them because he was mad at them. They made fun of him. He was hurt. Unbelievable? But believe it because it is a true story. So that is an example of attachment, but completely lacking all sense of duty. Shri Krishna says, Bhagavan says, "Don't do your duty towards me. Give me your love. Attach your mind to me. Mayeva mana adhatsva, may buddhim niveshaya." Bhagavan Shri Krishna says in the Gita, give me your mind and give me your intellect. So give me your love. Vidurani, the wife of Vidur. Vidur and Vidurani. Vidurani is not her first name, by the way. That's wife of Vidur is Vidurani. He was not home, her husband was not home, but she was. When she saw Shri Krishna standing at the door, he paid a surprise visit. When she saw him, she was so overcome with love for him that love that she had inside her heart, it just came out in the form of tears. She started to dance. She was not aware of what she was doing. When she became a little normal, she invited her Lord inside. She gave him the best seat in the house, and then she just sat beside his lotus feet and washed his lotus feet with her tears. After some time, she thought, I should offer something to eat. She rushed to the kitchen, but she didn't have the presence of mind to cook anything. She just saw some bananas. She grabbed them and brought them to Sri Krishna. She peeled one, all the while gazing lovingly at him, all the while shedding tears, and she had no idea that she was dropping the fruit, but giving him the banana peels. And Bhagavan Sri Krishna responded to the love in such a wonderful way. He ate those banana peels. I know we sing about that, we talk about that, sometimes we hear about that, but how difficult it is to eat banana peels. We've never done it. We know the story of Bhagavan Sri Krishna, how he ate banana peels in the house of Vidur and Mridurani, but have we ever had the courage to eat banana peel? No. We don't eat banana peels, we give them to the animals. And Bhagavan Sri Krishna ate those banana peels and said, this is the best tasting food I've ever had. He's not making that up. He's responding to the love. He wants only love. He doesn't want us to do duty towards him. Shabri was not doing just a formality when she offered the wild fruits to him, the wild berries. She was tasting each and every one, and then if they were sweet, she was offering them to Bhagavan Sri Ram. The sour ones she would discard, the sweet ones she gave him. The only way to tell if those fruits are sweet is by tasting them herself. That's obvious, isn't it? But that's a no-no, you don't do that. But she was so lost in love that she had no idea what she was doing, so she was giving him tasted fruits. And again, Bhagavan Sri Ram is eating them and saying to Lakshman, you also have some, they are the most delicious fruits I've ever had. So love for God and attachment towards family members. Now, there is no problem in this, because it's not as if the world says, people, your world, meaning mother, father, siblings, and later on spouse and children, your world, your small world. People in your world don't want your attachment. They don't want your attachment. They just want you to do your fair share of the work. Isn't that true? The husband says, I love you so much, he says to his wife, I love you more than life. And she said, yeah. What do I do with that love? That love will not mow the lawn. That love is not going to do the dishes or the laundry, the shopping that I've given you a whole list of chores to do. So what am I going to do with your love? Pickle it? Make chutney out of it? It's of no use to me. You go and mow the lawn. It's looking like a jungle in the front yard and the backyard. Do your duty. I don't want your love. I don't want your attachment. Nobody in the world will ask you, are you attached to me? Your child will say, Mommy loves me, Daddy loves me. And you ask the child, how do you know your mommy and daddy love you? Because they do this for me. My mommy makes my favorite cupcakes. She buys me nice clothes. My daddy plays with me. And the child will name all of this. Because that to him or her means that mother and father are showing their love. They definitely love the child. That's what the child is thinking. So there is no problem. God doesn't say, do your duty towards me and give me your love. And the world doesn't say, do your duty towards me and give me your love. The world says, do your duty. God says, give me your love. So they're two different departments. On Father's Day, a very elderly man is out in a restaurant with his son. The father's in his 80s, the son is in his 50s. And now the roles have reversed. When the son was little, when he was a little boy, his father would feed him with his own hands. Now the father has Parkinson's, his hands shake, he cannot feed himself. So very lovingly, his son is feeding him with his hands. When the son was a little boy, his father would clean up after his spills. He would spill his food on his plate, all over his face, and on the floor, and the father would patiently wipe the son's face and wipe the floor and clean everything without complaining. Now the son is doing that. The father is very thankful that the son is doing his seva, but will this father ask the son, Beta, You're doing all this for me, and I'm very happy with that. But tell me, I'm suspecting you don't have any attachment for me. I suspect you don't love me. There's no question. There is no question that the father will never be asking the son a question like this. So we have really no problem. Duty towards the world, love for God. So duty towards the father. Bhagwan Sri Ram says to his younger brother, Lakshman, don't be stubborn. Don't insist on accompanying me to the jungles for 14 years. I was given an exile, not you, and I want you to stay here in Ayodhya because our father is devastated. He cannot bear the thought of being separated from me for 14 years. He's taken to bed. He doesn't eat anything, he doesn't drink anything, he's not sleeping. You see what kind of shape he is in. He's devastated, he's grieving. And in such a state, he cannot be ruling the kingdom. And he as a king, if he does not rule the kingdom properly, then the people of Ayodhya, he's doing injustice to the people of Ayodhya. And Jasuraj priya praja dukhari, so nrip avasi narak adhikari. And the king whose subjects are not happy, when he's not doing justice to them, then he has not done his duty well. And after death, he will be punished by suffering the torments of hell. That's what Bhagwan Ram told Lakshman. That you should. It is your duty as a son to help our father. So don't be stubborn. I'm telling you, and I'm your older brother, I'm telling you to stay behind. And Lakshmanji answered, Dharam niti upadesiyatahi kirati bhuti sugati priya jahi. Bhaiya, with all due respect, I say to you that please give this lecture of dharma, varnashram dharma, the path of following the duties prescribed by the Vedas and Vedic scriptures. Give this lecture of dharma to someone who wants name and fame in the world while he's alive, and after death he wants to enjoy the pleasures of Swargalok, the celestial abode. But as for me, I don't want either of these things, so this lecture is not good for me. Please give this nice lecture to someone else. And Bhagwan Ram did not find fault with Lakshman. Lakshman said, More sabhi ek tum swami, deen bandhu ur antaryami. You are my one and all. I don't know any other father. I don't know anyone else. You are my father. You are my all in all. Bhrata bharta cha bandhuscha pita cha me raghava. The words of Lakshmanji in Valmiki Ramayana. You are my brother, you are my father, you are my friend, you are my everything. I don't know anyone else. And Lakshmanji's mother Sumitra has also taught her son, Tat tumhari matu vaidehi, pita ram sab bhanti sanehi. Beta Lakshman, always know that Ram is your true father and Sita is your true mother. What an excellent mother this is, who teaches her child that God is the true mother and father. The one who's teaching her child that he is the soul, not the body. So Bhagwan Sri Ram thought to himself, Lakshman, you are right, absolutely right, that I am everything to you. But what can I do? I'm helpless because I'm here in this world to establish the laws of dharma, the laws of varnashram dharma. What is your duty as a Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra? What is your duty as a Brahman, Brahmachari, a Brahman, Grihastha or householder, a Brahman, Vanaprasthi, a forest dweller, or Brahman, Sannyasi, renunciate? What is your duty as a Kshatriya? And then all those combinations. According to your Varna, meaning the caste that you're born in, and your ashram, your stage of life. What are your duties? That is what I'm here to establish Bhagwan Sri Ram thought to himself. So I have to say this to you, but inwardly I agree with you. Yes. So the message of the scriptures and saints is clear, that towards a biological father have feelings of respect and gratitude and do your duty without attachment. And attachment must be given to God. Now let's talk about Sri Krishna, the Supreme Lord. What do the Vedas say? Who is he? What is our relationship with him? Divyo deva eko mata pita bhrata nivasah sharanam suhrit gatir narayana iti Subala Shruti, chapter 6, mantra number 4. The Vedas say God is your only mother, your father, your brother, your final destination, and your true shelter. God and God alone. And the very well-known verse that I started with, Tvameva Mata, every Hindu knows this. You are my only mother, my only father, my only brother, my only friend, my only wealth, my only knowledge. You are my one and only. These are words to live by. So he's our one and only, and we're all his children. Not just humans, but every living creature. His Swansh also, and his Vibhinnansh, all are his children. He is the father of all. Swansh meaning his own non-different fractions, like Brahma, Vishnu, Shankar, like all the avatars. God, when he descends, he takes avatar, avataranam avataraha. When he descends to earth, that is called taking avatar. So all the avatars, whether it's Matsya avatar, Kachapa avatar, Varaha avatar, Narsingha avatar, whichever avatar it is, they're all his Swansh. They are himself in different forms. They are his non-different fractions. And then there's all of us, individual souls, we humans and all the living beings. We are Vibhinnansh. We belong to him, but we never accepted him. We have eternally been separated from him. We have chosen to be separated from him eternally. So we are his Vibhinnansh. Swansh, Swa plus Ansh, and Vibhinnansh, Vibhin plus Ansh. So all the Swansh, all the Vibhinnansh, all are his children. He is the father of all. Now, how are we his fractions? What does that mean? A question does arise in the mind, doesn't it? What does it mean when the scriptures say that I, the soul, is a fraction of God? When Sri Krishna says, Mamaivansho jiva loke jiva bhutah sanatanah, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, verse 7. When Sri Krishna says, Oh Arjun, all living beings are my eternal fractions. How am I a fraction of Sri Krishna? And our brain starts working and we think, is it perhaps that Sri Krishna is like a big rock, and then you chisel away or hammer away at the rock and then you get little pebbles, right? Is that how we are his fractions? So all those pebbles are fractions of that big rock, that big mountain. So Jiva Goswami, he says in his scripture, Paramatma Sandarbha, he says, no, it's not like that. Nacha tankat chinna pashana khandavat tachinnas tat khando jiva. It's not like God is a rock and then we are the little pebbles that have come out. Then how are we his fractions? Well, Sri Krishna has unlimited, uncountable energies and powers. Krishnero ananta shakti. Gauranga Mahaprabhu says, Sri Krishna has unlimited, uncountable powers. Even Sri Krishna cannot count them. But three are his main powers, and they are Chit Shakti, Maya Shakti, Jiva Shakti. Krishnero Ananta Shakti, Tate Tin Pradhan, Chit Shakti, Maya Shakti, Jiva Shakti Nam. So, Antaranga, Bahiranga, Tatastha Kahi Jare. Mahaprabhuji says that his Chit Shakti is his internal power, his intimate power. That is his power that allows him to perform anything, to do anything and everything. He can do anything, he can do everything. He can see without eyes, he can hear without ears, But he can see with his ears and hear with his eyes. He can eat using any sense organ. He does not have to use the tongue to taste the food. He can taste the food and he can eat it with any sense organ. Nothing is impossible for him. That is his Chit Shakti, also known as Swarup Shakti and Yoga Maya Shakti. That's the Antaranga Shakti. We are not part of that. If we were, we would be all-knowing, we would be omniscient, we would be all-powerful. We are not, we know that. Then there is Maya Shakti, which is Bahiranga. It is an external power of God. It is not like God because God is conscious. Maya is Jad, it is insentient. So we are not part of Maya Shakti either because we, meaning the soul is conscious. The soul within the body, as long as it remains within the body, it makes the entire body conscious, doesn't it? It allows the eyes to see, ears to hear, the tongue to taste, the nose to smell fragrances, and it allows the skin to touch. It allows the sense organs to perform their respective functions. So the soul is, we are conscious. Maya is not. We are not part of Maya Shakti. We are part of Jiva Shakti, which is Tatastha. Tat means the shore. Now the shore of a river or an ocean, is it water or is it land? It's neither. It's both. So Jiva Shakti, the Jiva is like God in that the Jiva, the soul, is conscious, it is sentient, yet it is controlled by Maya Shakti. And we are all part of Jiva Shakti. And that is how we are, that is why we are called fractions of God, Ansh of God, part and parcel of God. Adi Shankaracharya gives an analogy of the ocean to explain what our relationship with God is. Satyapi bheda pagame nath tavaham namam kinastvam samudro hitaranga kvachana samudro hitaranga. Adi Shankaracharya says, "Oh Sri Krishna, you and I are both the same. There's no difference between you and I. You are conscious, I am conscious." However, he does not say here that my consciousness is like that of a firefly, and your consciousness is like the Surya, the sun that shines brightly in the sky. Can the firefly say to the sun, "I'm just like you, there's no difference between you and I"? No, but from the point of view of the soul being conscious, Adi Shankaracharya says, you and I, there's no difference between us. But then he says there is a difference, a big difference. And that is, "O Sri Krishna, you are the ocean, and I'm a wave. I'm a wave in that ocean." Millions and billions of waves rise in the ocean and they fall into the ocean. One wave rises, another one rises, and they both join, but one of them crashes against a rock, and then a couple of seconds later, the other one crashes also. So in this way, millions and billions of waves are rising in the ocean, they're crashing, and then they're merging within the ocean. These waves don't belong to one another. They belong to the ocean. They merge within the ocean. In the same way, we don't belong to one another. We belong to the ocean, who is Sri Krishna. That is why we were singing a little bit earlier, Sab jeev bhai bhai, Govind Radhe, Sab ka pita hai ek, Krishna bata de. All individual souls are brothers because we have the same Father. The Father is Sri Krishna. So we are waves in the ocean. We do not belong to one another. We belong only to the ocean, who is Sri Krishna. In our scriptures we read about the desire to know God. And that is the best of all desires. Rather than trying to know what's going on in the neighborhood, rather than trying to know what's going on in the world, I must subscribe to all the possible newspapers. I must find out. I want to know. I am Jigyasu. I'm an inquisitive soul. There is a publication called an Inquirer. I believe that's the right name, Inquirer. And that's for inquisitive souls. What kind of information does it have? You want to know about a 3-headed baby? That's in the Inquirer. You want to know what's going on with that movie star, with that athlete, all the hangama and all the drama in their lives? You want to know because you have so much time to kill? Come and find out what's going on in their lives. But the wise ones want to know, who is Brahma? In Taittiriya Upanishad, we read that Bhrigu asked his father Varun, "Father, tell me about Brahma. Tell me about Brahma." And he asked his father because his father is Brahmagyani. He is a knower of Brahma. You can't just ask each and every person, "Hey, tell me about God." One person may say, "What do you mean God? God doesn't even exist." Another says something else. Another, whatever he or she will tell you is whatever he or she knows. So we cannot just ask anyone about God. Varun was Brahmagyani, so his son is asking him. Bhrigu is asking, "Please tell me about Brahma." And Varun says, "Yato va imani bhutani jayante, yena jatani jivanti, yat priyantyabhisamvishanti, tad brahma vijigyasasva." Taittiriya Upanishad. He says, "Son, Brahma is the one from whom all living beings are manifested. They are born from God. And Brahma is the one who protects them and nurtures them. And Brahma is the one into whom all living beings merge at the time of Pralay. He is Brahma. Know him to be Brahma." In the Brahma Sutras, composed by Bhagwan Vedavyas, otherwise known as Vedant, the first Brahma Sutra is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Thus begins the inquiry into Brahma. Who is Brahma? And the second Brahma Sutra is Janmadyasya Yataha. The one from whom all are born is Brahma. He is the Supreme Father. Janmadyasya yatonvayadi tarataschartheshvabhigyaswarat tene brahma hridaya adikavaye muhyanti yatsurayah tejo vari mridam yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo mrisha dhamna svena sada nirasta kuhakam satyam param dhimahi. Canto 1, Chapter 1, and verse number 1 of Bhagavad Mahapuran, also composed, as you know, by Bhagwan Vedavyas. So, Janmadyasya Yatah, the one who is the father of all living beings. Father in the sense that he is eternal, but his children, we are also eternal. Just as there was no beginning to God, in the same way there was no beginning of the individual souls. But he is our Father. We have come from him. We are his eternal part and parcel. And we should not be intimidated by him. We should not fear him. So many fear God. I'm afraid of God. We must not fear him, because where there's fear, there cannot be love. We must love him. Why? Because he's loving. He's our loving Father, loving Mother, loving parent. The most loving. And he's not complicated, he's not demanding. He's so simple that patreshu pushpeshu phaleshu toyeshva krita labhyeshu sadaiva satsu bhaktyasu labhye purushe purane muktau kimartham kriyate prayatnah. Nirsingha Puran says that he's such a merciful Father that he accepts anything from us. You offer him a leaf, a flower, a fruit, water. And he will accept it all. He's so simple. All that pleases him, what pleases him is love. And we all know how to love. That's all he wants, nothing else. He doesn't say, okay, you must put a very expensive diamond necklace around my neck and around the deity that you have in the temple or in your home. No such demand, just love. Love is what attracts him. But we don't know anything about him. So we have a Father who's even more merciful than God, more merciful than Sri Krishna. More man prabhu as vishwasa, Ram te adhik Ram kar dasa. Ramcharitmanas. I have firm faith, Bhagwan, that greater than you is your true servant. Greater than God is the Guru, the true servant of God. God says, Sri Krishna says, you just become pure of heart and I shall accept you. Nirmal man jan so mohi pava, mohi kapat chal chhidr na bhava. Bhagwan says, I don't like chal kapat, I don't like deception, your deceptive ways. You are one way on the inside, another way on the outside. I don't like that. Just become pure-hearted. That's it. Become pure, come to me, I shall accept you. And we start thinking, how do I become pure? I am so accustomed to being impure. How do I become pure? Bhagwan says, I don't know, you just become pure. Oh yes, I'll give you help in the form of a guru. So go to the guru and he will purify you. Guru dhobi shish kapada, sabun sirjanhar, says Kabir Das Ji. The guru is a dhobi, he is a washerman. And the heart of the disciple is like a soiled garment. It's a dirty garment. There is mud and all sorts of filth on it. And the sabun, the soap, is Sirjanhar, that is Bhagwan. So the guru is a washerman who cleanses the heart of the disciple with the soap of God, godly love. So we are eternally grateful to God, our Divine Father, but we are even more grateful to Gurudev, our Divine Guru, for he takes us to God. Tulsidas Ji has said in many places in the Ramayana that Guru is greater than God. And you know that we believe in the Ramayana and all the other scriptures because God, when a saint writes a scripture, then why do we believe what he says? It's not because Tulsidas Ji has written the Ramayana that we believe in the Ramayana. We believe in the Ramayana because Bhagwan Sri Ram, who is sitting inside Tulsidas Ji, guiding him directly, who has written the Ramayana himself. So the words of Tulsidas Ji are the words of Bhagwan Sri Ram himself. So you can say that Bhagwan Sri Ram is saying in the Ramayana that the saint is greater than God. राम सिंधु घन सज्जन धीरा चंदन तरु हरि संत समीरा. Bhagwan Sri Ram is the ocean and the saint, the guru, is like the clouds. The water of the ocean is abundant. There's abundant water, but can we drink it? No, it's salty. So the ocean is of no use to us if we want to drink the water. The clouds say, we will absorb the water from the ocean, and then we will sweeten it up for you. Then we will give it to you in the form of rain. Now you can drink the water, and you can use it for so many purposes. So Bhagwan Sri Ram is the ocean, and the Guru is like the clouds. So we are eternally grateful to the ocean for providing so much water. But we are even more grateful to the Guru for making that water sweet, for rendering it sweet, and giving it to us so that we may use it, drinking it for drinking purposes and for many other purposes. From our point of view of our self-interest being fulfilled, the Guru is greater than God. And there is a word of caution that many of you have heard so many times, and that is that most merciful Father called the Guru, the Divine Guru, we must not judge him, we must not judge a Guru by his words, his facial expressions, or even his actions. There is a story told of Moses. He wanted to spend some time with a saint called Al-Khizr. Al-Khizr heard this request from Moses, and he said, you may spend time with me, you may travel with me and go wherever I go, but on one condition, and that is, you must not doubt what I'm doing. Even though it makes no sense to you, you must never question me why I do what I do. Moses said, I agree with this condition. So Al-Khizr allowed Moses to go with him. So they were walking, and then they came upon the seashore, and there was a ship there, and the people on the ship, they invited both of them onto the ship. They went there and they were greeted very warmly and given a lot of respect. But as Al-Khizr and Moses were getting off the boat, the ship, Al-Khizr damaged the boat. And Moses saw this and he thought, why? These people have been so good to you. Why did you? He didn't dare to ask the question outwardly. So they left the ship, then they were walking, and they came upon some children who were playing. And Al-Khizr murdered one of the boys who was playing there. And Moses was shocked beyond belief. He has committed murder, and he acts like nothing has happened. And he was so confused, but he remembered, he said, I will not say anything. Then they came to a village, and they asked for some food. Al-Khizr said, may we have some food? And the people in the village said, no, you may not. And Moses said, how disrespectful these people are. They did not even allow both of them to stay in the village. They completely disrespected these two. Al-Khizr smiled, and there was a wall there in the village, and Al-Khizr started to repair it. And Moses said, these people who have not given him a morsel of food, they have disrespected him greatly, and he's doing them a favor by fixing this wall, repairing this wall. For what reason? It's a random wall. Why is he repairing it? And those people in the ship, they had given him so much respect and food and so on, so much love, and he damaged that ship. It makes no sense. And then murder, well, let's not even talk about that. He murdered a boy. But this was all going on in the mind of Moses. Finally, he could not hide his curiosity. He said, sir, I don't understand why you've been doing what you have done. It makes no sense. Al-Khizr then said, well, that ship, it belonged to poor people. And and the king's men would come and seize that ship. I didn't want them to do that. So I damaged that ship so that the king's men would not seize it. So those poor people, the poor men, they would have a livelihood. Oh, I see. That boy, he was going to become he was a very sinful soul. He was going to commit a lot of crimes in his life. So I put an end to his life. And that wall, there was a man and his wife, and they had hidden a lot of treasures in that wall for their children to discover when they're older. But these parents, this husband and wife, they died. Their children are yet very small. I don't want them to discover the wealth right now because they will not know how to use it well. So I repaired the wall. In due course of time, these children, when they become older, they will have enough sense how to use that money, and they will discover that wealth. And that is why I repaired that wall. Al-Khizr said next, you cannot stay with me any longer, because that was the condition. So this story tells us that we must not try to judge a saint, a guru, by using our intellect. Sri Maharaj Ji calls it puny intellect. Choti si buddhi. A puny intellect with which we have not been able to understand the self. How can we understand a divine being, one who is a divine messenger of God on earth? We cannot understand. So to try to understand that Father who takes us towards God, our real Father, it would be very sad indeed. We would harm ourselves. The Guru is the greatest of the three fathers. First of all, we have the biological father. Then we have our true father, father of the soul, Shri Krishna. Then we have the Guru, who puts us in touch with our true father. He gives us knowledge. He gives us hundreds and hundreds of lectures, explaining things to us in this way and that way, and then explaining everything so that every concept becomes extremely clear, crystal clear. And then he answers our questions very patiently. The same questions have been asked hundreds of times, but he answers every question very, very patiently, tells us how to do sadhana, how to practice devotion every day so that there is no doubt left, so there are no questions left. That Guru is our most merciful Father, for he puts us in touch with our real Father. So out of the three fathers, first of all, the biological father, towards him, do your duty. Have respect for him, feel grateful to him. If a person does not feel grateful, then he's worse than an animal. Wouldn't you say that? Even animals feel grateful. An animal, a wild animal, received some help from a man, and that wild animal is seeing that man after 5 years, 10 years, and that animal recognizes this man and shows his love. It may be a lion or an elephant, but you've seen those stories, you've heard those stories, you've seen them on YouTube and so on. Animals feel so grateful to humans who have helped them out. Perhaps those people took them out of a ditch and saved their lives. For whatever reason or the other, animals feel grateful. So we are not even as good as animals. We are worse than animals if we feel no gratitude. We must feel gratitude and respect towards a biological father, and we must do our duty. Then we have the real Father, the Supreme Lord. We must not do our duty towards him. We must not do any formalities with him. We must mean what we say and what we do. We must love him. We must serve him. Serve him in every possible way with all the resources that we have. 3 resources, main ones that we have, is body, mind, and wealth. And so we hear about tan man dhan se seva karo. Serve God financially, physically, financially, and mentally. And as long as we cannot serve God directly, we must serve our Guru and Guru's mission by serving physically, financially, and mentally. The true purpose of Father's Day celebration is served when we recognize who our true Father is, when we recognize Bhagwan to be our true Father, and when we learn with gratitude from our most merciful Father, called the Guru, all about God, and then we serve both God and Guru with all the resources that we have. Then we can say, yes, I have celebrated Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, everyone. Boliye Param Pita Bhagwan ki Jai. Srimad Sadguru Sarkar ki Jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe.